alluded to this last week on the show, and I'm just wondering. I know you asked about it, or some variation of this, or so you said via text. But I'm just wondering if Orion Kerkering is a guy who has awesome stuff, and he has very good numbers this year. I'm just kind of curious when they ask him to put the big boy pants on, like, is he a guy that can handle it? And it just feels like to me over the course of his career that when the situation elevates and he becomes more important, that's when we start to see some cracks. And that may be very unfair. I hope it's unfair. I hope it's a thing that like a month from now we're like, come on, moron. But like, I just feel like, come on, dude. Like, you're supposed to be a guy now, so be a guy.
Yeah. He's in when he's come in games that are either tied or within one run, he's had 28 batters and given up 8 hits. 2 of them home runs, 1 a double. And there's been a runner on base in all 3 of those occasions. So I asked Don Mattingly about this yesterday. My exact question, I'm going to read it word for word. Are you seeing anything different with Kerkering when he comes into a dirty inning in these tight games versus when he comes in with lower leverage? Right? It's kind of what you were asking about, right?
That's what I'm asking, yeah.
Okay, just see, right?
To ask the question.
and he said, not really. I mean, his stuff for me is always good. And, it's just a matter of getting the pitch to the right location. He's not been a guy that's been a really big swing and miss guy. But no, his stuff is really good. Nothing really. A lot of guys, I think you'll see more trouble out in dirty innings. You're coming right into the mix, right? You get a clean inning, you have a chance to make a mistake, give up a hit, not cost you a run. So we're asking him to do, get us out of jams and things like that. So they're not always going to be, they're mostly the tough spots when he's in the game. Okay. But why is he the guy that you're asking? Why is he the guy that you're asking to do that versus, say, a Brad Keller, who's been much better?
Who's been better lately. But, like, if I were to look at these 2 guys this season, I'd say, well, one has performed more consistently, has been better overall. So that's what it really is. Like, Kerkering has become this guy because Brad Keller didn't hit the ground running. Like,
yeah.
Ryan Kerkering wasn't supposed to be this guy for this team. It was supposed to be like, okay, we think he's a good part, but he's not going to be the primary righty following Duran. Like but now he's kind of been thrust into this elevated role, which is where my frustration comes in because I like Orion Kerkering. I see the stuff and like, I think he's not like, I guess who cares that he's a good guy? He seems like a really good guy. Like he's a player that I root for. And I respect the fact that how he handled the way the season ended last year and that meltdown in LA, like all those things. Right. But like, I just want you to handle moments better. And he just, to me, like, doesn't handle big moments that well. And I don't know that I don't mean that in like a personal way. Like, I don't mean to say that he is mentally incapable of it or doesn't have what it takes to thrive in the moment. I don't know that would be a hot take and it would be unfounded and impossible to prove. It just, the production in the moment has not been there though, far too often. And it just makes me question like what he ultimately is if he can't navigate those moments with more consistency.
Yeah. I'm with you, Bob, on that because I like there's a lot that I like about Orion Kerkering, but it's hard to ignore the fact that when the chips are down is when he seems to make the most mistakes. When it's lower leverage, he seems to be awesome in low leverage situation. And maybe that's what ultimately he is. Maybe he's ultimately just a 5th, 6th inning guy. You need to give him a clean inning. He'll come in and, get 3 quick outs for you and you move on to the next inning. And you need guys like that, right? I mean, a guy who's been that for them this year is like a Chase Sugar, right? It's been really good for the Phillies. But in those lower leverage things, and no one's throwing Chase Sugar into that same spot, at least not right now. So maybe ultimately that's what Orion Kerkering is, and that's fine if that's what he is. He could still benefit this team in that role. But he's kind of been being asked to do what guys like Matt Strahm have done in the past, to be that guy to come in and take over the dirty inning and get out of it. And while Strom was good at it, I'm not necessarily sure that Kerkering is.
Yeah, I mean, and just two things here. Late and close per Baseball Reference. Opponents hitting 269 with a 345 on base percentage, 346 slug, 691 OPS. Okay. That's not it's not brutal, but it's not good for a high leverage arm.
No, but look at that same. So if you're looking on Baseball Reference, look just below it, right?
Yeah.
When tied or within one run, it's in that same category of splits.
Yeah, within one run. If the game's within a run, opponents are hitting 308 against him with a 900 OPS, 400 on base percentage.
There you go.
When you're talking about high leverage guy, this is a dude we're going to because the game's on the line. Those numbers aren't good enough. And it's 50 games into the season, right? He's been in 10 games with the game within one run. He's faced 31 hitters. It's not a week, but it's also not a full season. It could even itself out. I'm trying to be fair here. But, the antenna's up on that for me.